Hey everyone, welcome back. So sorry for the late show tonight. I wanted to watch the President Trump speech tonight to the nation, and luckily it just ended like a couple of seconds ago before I'm going live. So that, plus I wanted to get my boys ready for bedtime and all that stuff. So that is all done. Now I can actually do this without any issues. So a couple of things we're going to talk about today. We may touch on a little bit on the President Trump's speech today. Not much really there as far as foreign policy. Only thing he talked about was Ukraine and Russia there a little bit about the Middle East as well. No mention of Bitcoin either. At least I didn't hear it. I've been trying to get my boys ready for bed and all that stuff. So if I missed it, apologize. Let me know if you guys heard it. But I think Fairfax said also that nothing on Bitcoin here. What else do we have there? A couple updates from the miners. We had Cipher update today for production update along with Marathon and Riot. Marathon also provided their 10K financial results, so we'll take a look at that as well. So we have that, and that's about it. So we'll see what happened today with Bitcoin. Bitcoin did a big seesaw today. It went down and went back up. It was up last I checked it here. It might be down actually right now after the speech from Trump about not mentioning Bitcoin. And miners were kind of mixed today as well. Some were in the green today, and then coming back down. We'll talk about it all going forward here. So as always, thank you so much for coming in here as always. And as always, not financial advice for doing only do your own research, full disclosure below that. And if you would be kind, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin today right now. Bitcoin was actually in the green today. So we'll take a green day whenever we can. We did obviously fall much lower. And now I'm looking at the CME futures here. Go back here to Bitcoin. Okay, so Bitcoin is down a little bit here after Trump was talking here, but Bitcoin actually ended up in the green today. It did have a pretty good swing here. The high was 88,977 and the low was 81,444. So we had roughly 7,000 swing on it today. It closed at 87,249. So the good thing is we bounced back up on it. We did dip below again the simple day moving average of 200 here, which is the green line here. We dipped below it, but we bounced back up above it. So that's good. Kind of so the same thing happening here, right? We'll see where Bitcoin goes. I have absolutely no idea where it's going to go going forward. It's just so volatile, and the uncertainty here with the markets is crazy. We had the tariffs going into effect today for Canada and Mexico. Canada, well, is fighting back. They put out tariffs as well, and they're threatening to turn off power to several million, I think it's like 1 million plus of people and businesses that are in, I think, New York, Minnesota, and Michigan as well, if this continues. But then we also heard a story that basically there might be a pause to the tariffs. I guess they're working it out in the background here. So I think some of the stuff that we hear from Trump, whenever that stuff goes into effect, we may need like 24, 48, or 72 hours just to let things kind of play out instead of jumping the gun here a little bit. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. They're supposed to be talking about they're going to provide some more information on it tomorrow, whether or not the tariffs go through or if there's some kind of a deal, basically, where they lower the tariffs to 5%, 7%. I don't know what that's going to be or what's Canada going to do and what's Mexico going to do to appease Trump there. His biggest thing is the fentanyl. I understand that, especially with Mexico, more so than I do with Canada. Canada, I think, only had, what was it? Correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I thought it was like less than 1% was going through Canada. But still, right, we need to fight it, obviously. So that's going on in there as well. So we have uncertainty in the markets. Trump's talking about also putting tariffs on the European Union on April 2nd. He didn't want to do it on April 1st because of April Fool's there. So we'll see what happens there on that. I think it's just more part of his art of the deal, basically. Put out wildish and outlandish requests or penalties on countries, and then see what they come back with as far as, you know, a better deal for the United States potentially. So that is what we got right now. Okay. Interesting part of today, like I said, Bitcoin was kind of mixed, or it was actually in the green, but miners were mixed. MicroStrategy was up though, 9.66% today on it. So that was a nice bounce there. Bitfarms also was one of the few miners that was actually in the green today, 3.64%. BitTier was up a little bit, 0.53%. And then we had a slew of miners that were down. Cipher was down 2.6. Cleanspark was down just 0.39. It was in the green actually, part of the day. CORZ was down 5.42%. Hive was flat on the day. HUT 8 was down 0.43. IREN was down 0.4. Mara was down 1.31. Mara was up 1.31%. Riot was down 5.08%. Wolf was down 5.18%. And then some of the smaller miners were also mixed more or less. The ETFs for miners were also down a day, looks like. So it wasn't a great day overall. So, I mean, we'll have to wait and see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow's another day in Bitcoin. I think with Bitcoin, I think we may, I mean, like I said in yesterday's stream, I think we might still be looking to maybe fill this CMA futures gap here just a little bit that we have, like $200 worth right around this area, which is between 77,800 and 78,630 or something like that, whatever it might be. So somewhere between there we might be looking to fill, but right now we're getting these higher lows on the daily at least. So maybe that doesn't get filled here, and maybe we have bottomed out here recently and continue going forward here. Now, the White House's crypto summit happening on Friday. We'll see what happens with that one. That should be interesting to see what they have in store for us there. But that's all the news I got so far for you guys with miners and Bitcoin here. Let's take a look at the actual news that we do have as far as updates for the miners. We'll get into that as well, and then we'll get into your guys' Q&A also. So looking at here, oh, one thing that I do have here, that just popped up on my timeline here to just recently. This is from Dennis Porter. Wait, there we go. The states will lead, Texas update. So Strategic Bitcoin Reserve Bill SB 21 has been placed on notice of intent for Wednesday, March 5th. That's tomorrow. So they're going to be voting on that, it looks like. We'll see if that goes through or not. So there's quite a few of those states that are in this kind of process right now. And it looks like the states will probably lead, just like Dennis Porter says here. All right, but let's get into the updates that we do have here. Bitcoin right now for the month of, let's see, March is up. What is it up? Where did my numbers go? There it is, 3.58% on the month of March right now, so not too bad. We'd love to see that obviously much better. But Cipher here provides their mining announcements for February 2025 operational update. Key metrics here, BTC mined was 180, BTC sold was 235, BTC held was 1,032, and month and operating hash rate was the same at 13.5 exahash as it was last month as well. So let's take a look at the numbers that I do have for Cipher here. Cipher has 361 million shares outstanding, market cap 1.35 billion. The performance of the last 12 weeks has not been great, as with many other miners has been as well. Current hash rate 13.5. They're pretty much fully installed as it is right now. HODL is worth about 90 million of that. So only 6.6% of their HODL position is the value of their market cap there. Their performance over the last couple of months has been coming down, production-wise at least, for Bitcoin. We saw a decrease of 34.6. It was a shorter month as well, so that kind of contributes to it as also, right? It was only 28 days instead of the 30 or 31 days that we normally have on the monthly chart, so that's kind of why. So I don't really fault them for that on this one. What I probably should do is look at these guys here. How much on average do they produce per day over a month time frame? Maybe it's something I'll look into doing as well. Revenue definitely did fall here to 15.19 million here. That's a result of the last days, right? HODL has been continuing to decrease for them. They've been using that HODL position and what they mine to fund their operations and growth as well. So we're seeing that. And then total hash rate has been kind of flat here over the last couple of months. The last 3 months has been 13.5 exahash. Bitcoin sold here, you can see that they sold 239 Bitcoin. And then Bitcoin BTC per exahash efficiency is at 13.3. It's kind of where I'm seeing also with Bitfarms. Bitfarms is at 13.2, I think it was. We'll see where Riot and Marathon came in as well. BTC sold value, 22.7 million it's sold there. And going down here, we'll get into some of these things here in a second. But institutions here, huge increase in institutions for these guys. I'm seeing this across the board with a lot of these miners also. But for the end of, well, as of today at least, institutions increased to 299. Shares increased to 241 million here. That's almost a double from where they were just last month. And we now have 67.56% of the shares being owned by institutions. We still have the 6 strong buy ratings, 4 buy ratings, and the price targets actually went down. I'm seeing that also for some other miners. The high went down to $9. The average went down to $8.08, and the low stayed the same at $7 right now. So it's kind of interesting to see that institutions are buying in, but the analysts are actually lowering pricing on some of these guys here. So that's kind of interesting. For the month of February, they operated approximately for 23.18 days, roughly on average. Based on that, I added about 1.33% of Bitcoin transaction fees to all these guys here. So about 228,000 there being added to it as well. So that's kind of what we got there, and about 159. See, this was for Odessa, which is their self-mining. So it looks like about 159 Bitcoin was mined for that. The other one's the Alvarez Bearer in Chief. Got about 1.9 million in revenue, roughly, and that's their 49% stake in that, I believe. Okay, so there's that. Going up here, based on the numbers for February here, it looks like multiplying that times 12, we get about 182 million. I think this should be somewhere between $5.04 and $7.56. They're currently at $3.75. Yes, they're undervalued. Just like a lot of these miners are right now, currently being way undervalued from where they really should be. But that's a result of Bitcoin being where it's at right now as well. All right, so there's that. The only thing that they need to do is continue to execute. They need to grow more. Obviously, their hash rate, I believe. They do have the HPCI potential there as well at some of the sites. So yeah, just continue to grow, execute on HPCI, and we'll see what happens in the next 6 to 9 months with them. All right, next one here is going to be on Mara. So Mara announces also their February update here. Here's a quote from Fred Thiel. In February, our Bitcoin production per day increased 4% over January, and blocks 1 and Bitcoin production decreased by 6% month over month, primarily due to a higher network difficulty level and 3 fewer operational days, like I talked about. Our energized hash rate was slightly above the prior month, and we are close to finishing construction of our 40 megawatt data center in Ohio, where we plan to install over 10,000 the S21 Pro immersion miners. Those are like rough, I'm going from memory here, but I think those are like 300 terahash machines at that point. And if you get 10,000 of those, you're looking at about 3 additional exahash being added to it. So that's definitely interesting news there. I will have to update their numbers here to include the 10,000 S21 Pros in there as well. So that will give them a little bit of a bump here going forward as well. And not much details other than that. BTC produced was 706. This was all from their all the stuff that they do there, right? They had 206 blocks, 1 from Mara Pool, and energized hash rate went up a little bit here to 53.7 from 53.2 on it. And then as of February 28th, the company held a total of 46,374 BTC, which includes loaned and collateralized Bitcoin as well on that. Okay. Excuse me. So let's get into Mara here really quick. Mara, they also reported their 10K figures. They put out there that they have 345 million shares outstanding as of the 21st of February. So it's kind of what I'm using here as far as shares outstanding. That gives them a market cap of 4.8 billion. Performance of the last 12 weeks, again, not great, right? Current hash rate 53.7, future hash rate of 54. I need to add another 3 exahash on top of it, probably to get into about 56 or so. And then BTC HODL was 46,374, which gives them a value of $4 billion. So that is just crazy to me, right? 4 billion in HODL, that's 84% of their market cap right now is their HODL position. And they have 4.8 billion in market cap. So are they really valuing 800 million just on their assets? I mean, their assets are, I think, are even worth more than that. It just does not make any sense right now. So we'll look at the assets down below for the quarterly results here. But I believe their assets are like over 1 billion something. So yeah, I mean, this does not add up at all for me. So way undervalued from where they really should be here. But here's what we're seeing here. Recently, they mined 687.5 Bitcoin. This is what's possibly going to be reported as revenue for them. On this, and it's been coming down here a little bit, but again, February was a shorter month here by 3 days, so they could have been probably close to 727, if not maybe even a little higher, if we had like 31 days in the month. Bitcoin revenue here has been coming down. Bitcoin price has also been coming down as well a little bit here. We had a little bit of a decrease in the revenues because of that, but also a shorter month again. Bitcoin HODL has increased here as well to 46,374, like we talked about. Hash rate has grown about 500 petahash to 53.7 exahash. It looks like they added about 9 Bitcoin. They said that they didn't sell anything, but that's I'm tracking it by month to month on it. I'm not sure why the variance is there on it. And then BTC per exahash efficiency 12.8, so lower than Cipher, lower than Bitfarms a little bit here. And the reason for that is just the number of days being mined here for them. Okay, so getting the quarterly results here, which has been updated here for the latest numbers that we do have here. Last 4 quarters results, right? 204 million here in revenue. Nice increase from where they were in Q3. Pretty much a double there almost. And then the current quarter, we're looking at about 220 million roughly. Last 4 quarters, operating costs minus depreciation was 168 million. Excuse me. And then the cost to mine 1 Bitcoin minus depreciation came in at 52, almost 53,000 per coin. So still pretty high up there for them compared to the other miners. And that's a result of them having, I think, 65% of their sites being self-owned and the other 35 or 40%, whatever it is, still hosted. So that always is going to be a little bit of an issue there for them. Bitcoin mine quarterly, I have them at 2.4 thousand there. Debt to equity, 0.646, still really good. Current ratio, still really good, 4.9. Total current assets, 470 million. Total current liabilities, 95 million. So not a big deal there. Institutions also, huge increase for them as well, right? Their institutions are now at 567, and then shares is at 216 million, roughly. That's 64% institutions owned. We still have 3 strong buy ratings, 1 buy rating, 9 hold ratings, 0 underperform, 0 sell. Price target is still $43 for them, so it's down a little bit. Average went down to 24.86, and the low went down to $14. So like I said, institutions are buying in, but the analysts are kind of lowering the price targets a little bit, not much. Going down here, let's see, for the quarterly results, I was off by 1.24% on it. I had them at 207 million. They came in at 204 million. So happy with that. I'd like to be within 2.5% of that stuff as always. And then going down here into February numbers for them, I had them at 22.8, so almost 22.9 days in operation. I think maybe the weather played into it. The new machines that were installed, I don't know what those are. They don't report really, so it's tough to really track it. But I put those in at 230 terahash and about 2,150 of those being installed roughly. I don't know. Could have been higher efficiency machines, maybe. I'm not sure. But when they don't report it, it's tough to follow along. But those were running for about 20 days on average for that. And then I got us to the 67.2 million here, which is kind of what I calculated here as well. So that's where we're going with there. Based on that information here, right, the last numbers for February times 12 months, right, we have them at $23, $34 to $35. They're at $13.97. Yeah, they're way undervalued, tremendously undervalued here. And they're not really being valued on their HODL as well. But going down here into their quarterly results here really quick, we'll get into some of these numbers here in a second. Like we talked about, current assets definitely increased nicely to 470 million from 239. Total assets also increased quite a bit here to 6.8 billion from 3.5 billion here. Huge increase there. Total current liabilities also increased a little bit here to 95 from 59, so that's not too bad there. Total liabilities went up to 2.6 billion from 724. The main reason for that is the convertible notes, right? 2.2 billion in convertible notes there. So that definitely dragged that up. And then revenues here, we can see that revenues came in at 16 million for mining operator transaction fees. Mining participant was actually down for some reason. I'm getting that at negative 8 million here. I'm not sure what the heck's going on there on that one. They reported 32 million on it. Everything else lines up. It's something, am I off on something here? I'm not sure. Hosting services was only 1.8 million here compared to, so that's up a little bit from where it was in Q3. And then mining operator, block rewards, and other revenue was 204 million here on it. And that's a nice increase from the 114 million that they had in Q3 there. So total revenue came in at 214, and then 204 that was basically self-mining. Well, 14 million or 10 million was roughly the other part of it. Looking at it over here, cost of revenue, energy hosting minus energy hosting and other was 62%. So let's see what we're looking at here. Yeah, cost of energy hosting and other. So 62% profit margin basically. It seems like they had a better profit margin here at 87%. 127. Might be off on that. I think that should be opposite. I think that might be like 14% because it's 97 million. I might have an error there. I'll have to look into that one. So I will take a look at that. What else do we have here on it? Okay, realized and unrealized gains loss on digital assets loans, right? 442 million in FSB revaluation for the HODL that they have there. They also have, there was another one in here as well. Change in fair value of digital assets receivable net. I think this is stuff that they have loaned out, I think. 299 million there on that. And that got them down to basically operating income of 646 million. Income tax benefit was negative, so that brings them to 521 million on that. And that got them down to $1.80 per, basically for the quarter was $1.80 per diluted share basic, and diluted was $1.67 based on my numbers here, at least based on what the shares outstanding were put out there for basic and diluted. But for the year, they came in at $1.87, $1.72. Really good, right? So they're doing all the right things. The revaluation of Bitcoin is definitely helping there. But if we take out, if they came in at 521 million and we take out the revaluations on some of those things, they would be underwater there. The big thing here was, where did I see that? Where was it? General administrative, 77.9 million here in Q4. That's definitely quite a bit there, right? So, I mean, it's even more from 63 million. That's huge. Where is the, I don't think they put this in here. I think I brought it upstairs, or upstairs, up above. As far as share-based compensation here. So if we look at, go back up top and see their share-based compensation, where did I put that in here? I thought I put that in here someplace. Did I not? Oh, down here. There it is. Stock-based compensation was 40 million here in Q4. Basically, based on the numbers that they provided here, that was 23 million in Q3. That's a lot. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I think that's a lot. But it is what it is. So they've definitely did a great job growing last year for the full year, giving themselves bonuses and things like that. I'm sure it's probably, it's not stock performance based maybe. I think it's more of a operations based type of deal there. Okay, so that's where that came in at. Going back up top here to some of the other things I wanted to show you guys. Custom 1 Bitcoin came in at 109,000 without depreciation. If we take depreciation out, we're looking at about 52,918 roughly, based on the numbers. And we talked about debt to equity, current ratio. Book to value is 4.1 billion. Sorry, price to book ratio is 1.17. Enterprise value only 3 billion here. And then let me see. Yeah, something's off on that, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong on this number here. Okay. EBITDA was 658 million, EV to EBITDA was 4.61, and debt to EBITDA was 3.91. Revenue 204, general administrative compensation was 77, right? So 38% of that. It is down at least from Q3 from where we have seen it. So obviously the revenue going up has definitely helped here, but still really high, 38% to do that. Seems a bit high. And then we've had about 7% dilution here quarter over quarter. And for the full year, we had about 29% dilution in shares there. Okay. So definitely a good quarter, definitely much better in operations and things like that. It's nice to see that they're going to be growing another 3 exahash here in the coming maybe month or two when they get the Ohio site up and running, everything else. Yeah, so the only thing for them is continue to operate, continue to be as close as possible to 100% uptime. I know that they have to curtail at some of the sites. Also, some of the sites are not in their control because they are being hosted. So that's the only thing I would say is do that. And then we'll see what the impact is also going to be on the wind farms that or the wind farm they purchased. And they maybe install some of the machines there as well going forward, if that also helps out there with their costs. Okay, so that is all encompassing for Mara there. And as you guys know, I am a Mara shareholder now as of Friday. All right, let's get into Riot here really quick. Riot doesn't have too much in here as well. So Riot announces their February update here, 470 Bitcoin mined here, 33.6 exahash, total deployed hash rate. Average operating hash rate was 29.4. Total power credits was 2.8, so it's definitely down from where we saw that. I think they're saying January here, yeah. So January is 4.2, so that's down. And down here, okay, this is a quote. I don't know who it was a quote from, but it looks like our AI HPC process remains our top priority, and we have been encouraged by the strong demand we see in the market. The Corsicana facility represents a unique opportunity to access up to 1 gigawatt of power by 2026. in near proximity to the Tier 1 data center market of Dallas, Texas, and we will continue to aggressively pursue an outcome that best maximizes the value of Riot's assets. So still really nothing burger there until they actually provide something or they get some kind of a deal there with a hyperscaler or whoever is going to do that. Maybe CoreWeave, when they go public, they might want to grab up some more megawatts there. All right, let's go to Riot here really quick, and we'll get into Q&A as well. So Riot has 332 million shares outstanding, market cap 2.8 billion roughly. Performance, again, over the last 12 weeks has not been great. They're currently at 33.5 exahash or 33.6. That's pretty close there. Future hash rate 38. Bitcoin hodl 18,692. That's valued at 1.6 billion. That's 58% of their market cap as it is right now. Production was down in February, but so is everybody's. It was a shorter month here. It's 470. That's still not bad. Revenue was down to 44.7. So down from 52 was their best in January. Hodl continues to increase as well. Hash rate difference. Nice to see that they're still kind of increasing their hash rate. They said 33.6, right? It's 100 petahash being installed there roughly from what they reported last month. I am at 33.548, so that kind of averages it out anyways. We're pretty close to it as it is. And then BTC per exahash efficiency, 14 here for the month of February. This puts them above Cipher and Bitfarms right now. So that's looking pretty good there. And going down here, institutions as well. Nice increase in institutions to 516. Shares also owned by institutions up to 206 million now, 890,000. Percentage owned 60.88. Strong buy still at 9. Buy rating 6. Hold 1. 0 underperforms, 0 sells. Price targets went down again, like I said, to $23 here for the high. Average went down to $17.80 and the low went up actually to $13.5 dollars here. So that's kind of interesting to see that happening out there. Based on the number of Bitcoin that they mined, I'm looking at about 44.78 million in revenue here. And based on February, it looks like they were operating for about 24.36 days on average during the month here. And that got us to the 24.786 million in revenue for them. All right, based on where we are in February times 12 months, I have them between $16.17 to $24.26. They're at $8.41. It's starting to sound like a broken record. They're undervalued. Just based on what I'm seeing here, right? So nice to see that they are operating pretty good here. Pretty good uptime as well. Love seeing that, and love to see that go up a little bit more here. Maybe we'll see that here in March, April, as we get this kind of nicer weather where it's more conducive to good Bitcoin mining uptime, okay? But that's it. We'll have to wait and see what happens with their HPCI play. Can they get somebody there? Can they not? Time will tell. Honestly, I think it's going to be rather rough or hard to do that because we've seen other sites or other companies doing it. Cipher, IREN, Hut 8. There's others in there as well that are trying to get customers in there, and we haven't really seen anything progress. There's been a lot of talk, a lot of chit chat, a lot of emails maybe, but nothing that we have seen concretely move forward. So wish them all the best. Like everybody else, I wish them all the best on getting HPCI deal. I think that would definitely be a nice thing for the stock there. All right, but that's it. So I'll provide this out to you guys for the Patreon members tomorrow. So you're going to have tomorrow, it's going to be a big update for you guys. You'll have Bitfarms, Cipher, Riot, and Marathon updates on all these spreadsheets here. And that's it. Yeah, link for Patreon membership is down in the description. If you want to join there, $8 a month, or you might be able to find out a couple spots that are $5 and $4 a month. Take advantage of those because that's a nice discount, and you get access to all the spreadsheets and everything else. All right, let's get into Q&A. So we're doing pretty good. We're half an hour in already. Let's see what you guys have any thoughts, questions on. As always, if you could preface your question or a question with a Q or a question mark. And as always, I'm going to scroll up, see if I can find any questions, and we'll work our way down as always. So it looks like, let's see here. Not a lot of comments here, so that's kind of good. We'll get through this relatively quickly here. Okay, Nick Lee says, recently Cleanspark is like 10 red days, 1 green day, really scary. Yeah, it's for all the miners right now. Let's see, hope Friday is big, up or down. I'm hoping it's up on Friday, depending what they say at the crypto summit there. Okay, let's see. Are you still bullish on Cleanspark? Yeah, I'm still bullish on them. I bought them. I bought more shares back on Friday. So I'm still bullish on both Cleanspark, IREN. A little less. I'm still bullish on Bitfarms, but a little less so than where I was. And then I get into Mara here, so I'm a little bullish on them as well. I think the price entry was pretty good. Let's see. Mara keeps selling off when they made a profit. Oh, you mean the stock is selling off when they made a profit? Yeah. We saw the same thing kind of happen a little bit with IREN. We saw it happen with Cleanspark as well. It's just the brutal downtrend or correction that we're in right now with Bitcoin. Let's see, when will the miners rip? It's been brutal. What is the catalyst? Bitcoin Reserve from one of the states, Bitcoin Reserve for USA. That could be a catalyst. Okay, Morton says, why the F would he mention the Bitcoin? Yeah, there's no reason that he would have to mention it. It was just, hopium, I guess, from people, that he would say something about Bitcoin. Seriously, and people need to forget about SPR nonsense. Well, SPR could happen. We don't know. They don't need a large majority. They just need a majority there. So 51% of the vote there. Still might happen. Let's see. Someone speaking in Spanish here. No hable español. I remember that from Spanish class. I took 1 or 2 semesters of Spanish class in high school. I remember some things. All right. Question. At the Wyoming Blockchain Symposium, Zach Bradford said they would sell their HODL this cycle when the time is right. Would they announce the sell in real time or later? Thanks. Okay, that's interesting, right? Because that would be going back to the way that they did it in last cycle also. But surprised that they would sell all of their HODL this cycle. I don't think last time they even sold all of it. They sold like a majority of it, but not the whole thing. So that's kind of interesting. That's kind of good to know, because then they can use that to fund growth in the bear market potentially, right? Do all those things. Would they announce it in real time? Probably not. But you might be able to track the wallets there and see what the wallets are doing. So we might be able to see it more or less in real time as well on that side. So that would be interesting to see when that plays out. Okay, Harris has a question here. Why would Donald Trump mention XRP, ADA, and SOL as a strategic reserve and not Bitcoin in the first post? I saw that too, and then he posted it alongside that. So somebody slapped him upside the head and say, hey, you got to post these two as well. Makes no sense. Yeah, it seems like he was forced to make the second post by some billionaire. I don't know if it was some billionaire or it might have been just his son too, right? So it could have been just a gaffe on his part, because he's been talking about Bitcoin for a long time, and Ethereum as well, I think. But this is like the first time that he's mentioned, I think, those three specifically. So maybe that was it. I'm not too concerned about it. All right, let's see. Is Mara the most undervalued miner based on BTC holding? What miner are you buying and why? Thank you. It's definitely one of the top undervalued here, I think. Mara, Cleanspark, IREN as well. So those are the ones I've been buying. I bought IREN last Friday. I bought Cleanspark last Friday, and I bought Mara as well. I'm holding on to a Bitfarms shares I do have there. And yeah, a lot of these guys are undervalued right now from where they really should be. All right. What are your thoughts on PE metrics for miners? Mara PE is 10, Cleanspark 52. It's definitely because of their HODL position. Should we even look at this metric? Thanks. Why are you seeing 52 for Cleanspark? I don't even think Mara is at 10. I mean, these guys are like 3, 2, somewhere around there right now, based on their forward revenue, if you look at it that way. So should we even look at this metric? I think it's a good metric. I look at I use kind of like the average, more or less, right? In a bull run, historically, at least last cycle, I mean, Mara, I think, got like a P of 40, something like that. Riot got to a P of 30, like in the low 30s at one point. So I'm using lower numbers just to try to be conservative, at least a little bit. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how it plays out on this. If the miners do go back up to those numbers, I don't I'd like to see them go up to that number, but I'm just not sure with the current shenanigans going on in the market with Bitcoin and everything else. It might be tough for that. We need like a parabolic increase in Bitcoin for those guys to see those kind of PE numbers again. If we don't have a huge parabolic rise in Bitcoin, we might not see those. Let's see, Lucian here bought IREN and BitDigital today. Very nice. Yari, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Do you think Trump's focus on lowering energy prices could improve profitability of American miners, or does it not matter? Depending, I think the demand for electricity is only going to increase here, right? With data centers for HPC AI, whatnot. And then we just need more electricity generation in general. If that happens, we have a surplus of energy, then at that point, maybe we would have prices go down. The only other way prices are going to go down is if natural gas prices go down. That's a big contributor to electricity that we have here in the United States. Coal is a little bit less. Obviously, that's been kind of phased out more or less across the country. So I would think we would need natural gas prices to come down. That might help out some of the miners here. But in general, we just need more electricity production. That would definitely benefit the miners there at that point. If we can do that at lower prices, I mean, households are paying, I don't know what you guys are paying where you're at, but I'm paying like 10 cents, 10 to 11 cents per kilowatt hour. That's it's residential, right? Commercials getting it, high demand commercials getting it lower. 4.5, 4 cents, maybe 5 cents, maybe even 3.5 cents, depending on how much you're using at a certain area. So it's still pretty cheap for them at that point. Could it go down even lower? Possibly. But like I said, I think we just need more production. All right. Thoughts on Bitfarms? Are you still buying? I'm holding on to it. I'm holding on to what I have. I like that they're growing here more consistently, at least month over month. Small growth, but still growth, right? And then I just want to see what happens once they actually do buy out Stronghold. What does that mean for them going forward? And just some guidance, I think. We've seen some guidance from them, but it hasn't been very specific. It's been more broad stroke than anything else. So I just want to see what they're going to do going forward, but I'll just hold on to the stock that I have right now. Next question here. Although tariffs hit today and this was terrible news, miners were actually mixed. Yeah, they were down in the beginning, then they went up. I think we have bottomed here. Your thoughts, Seb? I'm also possibly thinking that we're seeing lower highs on Bitcoin on the daily at least. So maybe we have bottomed out, but only time will tell. It's hard to tell. I mean, one bad story from Trump about tariffs on something else, and we could be going back down. So anything is possible right now. Let's see. Michael says, yeah, no one listened to Trump tonight, which didn't say anything about Bitcoin. Yeah, he didn't say anything that. Mortem says, hey, Seb, I wasn't trying to be rude. Sorry, it came across. No, no worries on that. And that was, yeah, I didn't take that at all that way. It's just, I'm sure that's kind of your feelings, your thoughts. Not a big deal there. That's why I kind of talked about it as well. Let's see. Would you agree Mara might get MSTR pump, 43,000 Bitcoin, and keeps on adding? This could be the best play here. If they get valued on the Bitcoin that they have, right? Do they actually get a premium? Is it, I mean, right now it doesn't seem like they're getting any kind of premium on the Bitcoin HODL that they have. It might be actually that they're getting a discount on it. So if they can get a premium, kind of similar to what MicroStrategy has gotten in the past, where it's historically been on about 2x, right? Somewhere around there. MicroStrategy has gotten like a 3x even. But if they can at least get a 2x, then that'd be great. If they can get a 1.5x premium on that, okay, that'd be even great. So it just depends on investors and how they go into it. Obviously, we're seeing the institutions getting into these guys, but we're not seeing it in the stock price. So it's like, are they going long one thing and short another thing? That could be it as well. Question here. At what price for IREN will you start exiting? I mean, IREN's pretty low as it is right now. That's under $8 here. So I'm actually in the red on it. My average is around $8. So I'm a little bit in the red right now on it. I mean, ideally, depending where Bitcoin goes, I guess. You know, I'm thinking Bitcoin's going to go up here in the next 6 to 9 months. We might be up, 180,000, 200,000, wherever it might be. So I'm going to start slowly selling out of these guys here as we get closer to like 150,000 Bitcoin. That's at least the plan. But maybe I shouldn't be announcing my plan, because then the market makers, the big guys, are going to be dumping me down. I don't know. I'm a small peanut in this whole ecosystem here, so I don't think they really care what I do. It doesn't really affect them at all. But we'll see. All right. See, JN says Trump is now reducing energy prices. I don't know why people give any credence to what he says. If anything, energy prices will go up with tariffs on Canada. And Canada does supply some energy here to New York, Michigan, and Montana, I believe, maybe other states as well. They do supply energy for about 1 million something households and businesses. So that could be rough, but we'll see what tomorrow comes out with the new updated, that's not guidance, it's negotiations on the tariffs. We'll see if they lower that a little bit. Omar says, it's funny, this time last cycle bears were getting stronger. 1 year into the halving at this pace of consolidation, we were literally holding into the next halving. Thoughts might be a shallow bear market. I don't know yet. I don't think that's the case. The reason I say that is because Bitcoin, historically, like I said before, just drops down 30-35%, right? I mean, how much of a drop have we had so far from where we are right now? Let's take a look at it. Let's see here. Let's go to the screen here. And if we look at it and take the ruler out, go from the top here, roughly right around there somewhere, and down to here. I mean, we're only down 28.5% roughly on Bitcoin. So that's not that bad. I mean, last summer we had a 35% or 34% drawdown in Bitcoin, and then we rallied nicely, as you can see here, right? So we went to 73,000, 74,000, whatever it was. Then we went all the way down to 49,000. From there, we went sideways a little bit longer, but eventually went up. And this is kind of almost playing out like the same way as last year in the summertime. Kind of seeing the same kind of dip. I mean, look at this dip here. The only difference is this right here, we had to drop back down because we had a CME futures gap here. They got filled, but it's coming down here, and we're jumping back up. So maybe eventually we go back up. That's the theory, at least. We'll see. So I still don't think that this is like going into the bear market just yet. We have been bouncing off the 200 simple day moving average as well. There's still a lot of adoption happening here. There's a lot of good stuff, but there's also a lot of uncertainty. Uncertainty does not work well for the markets here. A couple more months, we'll see where things are at that point. Let's see here. With all these tariffs, why are you bullish on miners? Seems like trade war is not a good for market. I agree with you. Uncertainty is not good for the market. Trade war is not good for the market. The only thing is, I think Trump is using this as a negotiation tactic, right? Come in high on something, beat him down to a point where you want to get him down to eventually, or concessions on the border, fentanyl, whatever it might be. So I think this is just his tactic. I think he's kind of harsh, brash in the beginning in order to put people on the defensive. And then when they actually get something lower, they're happy and he's still happy. But we'll see if that's going to play out that way. Is it true that SoftBank ditched Cipher? Not that I'm aware of. At least I haven't heard anything on that. Let's see here. Kite says, I looked at PE of Cleanspark on Guru Focus and it's 70.55 right now. Forward is 5, yeah. So I'm looking more on the forward side of things here for these guys. Let's see here. Wolf sell or hodl or hold. That, I don't know. I mean, they do have a customer there with Core 42 for the HPC AI. That's going to be built out over the next year, basically. They're not providing any monthly updates, so we can't really see how they're doing on Bitcoin mining or what's going on there. That is your decision there as far as what you want to do on it. Okay, A's says he's holding Hut and Mara since $3. That's awesome. Let's see, Mara, make America rich again. Love that acronym. Amic is holding Riot since 12. Okay. Did you have hair before the miners? The miners were not even a thing back then. I started losing my hair when I was in my mid-20s. So this is going back 20 years. Miners were not even a thing back then. Yeah, I just got some bad genes from, I think this is my mom's side of the family. All right, let's see. Justin BlackRock says, if every millionaire, yeah, I saw that. If every millionaire in the U.S. asked their financial advisor to get them one Bitcoin, there wouldn't be enough. Yep, that is absolutely true. Ace is holding Hut 8 and Mara since 2021 and still down on no profit. When did you buy into these guys? At a higher price or the peaks? Let's see here. Question. Sorry for the question I had was at what price do you think IREN will you start selling regardless of BTC price? Oh, well, it's not gonna be regardless of BTC price. I think it's gonna be based on where BTC price is. Regardless of where the price of the miners are, Bitcoin gets to a certain point, I'm gonna start slowly dollar cost averaging out of these guys. So it's not really. I'd like to definitely sell at a peak, right? I don't know where the peak's gonna be. On these things, they could front run Bitcoin, so that's the hard part there as well, which they have done in the past as well. So I'm just going to look at Bitcoin, where Bitcoin's going, and try to dollar cost average out. All right. Question: in hindsight, the correct play was to go long BTC while shorting MicroStrategy, and the miners had you employed the strategy, you'd be in a green on BTC and green on your short. How do you manage risk? I own Bitcoin as well. So I'm green in Bitcoin regardless. I got into Bitcoin in 2017. So my cost average on Bitcoin is several thousand, right? So I'm nicely up on Bitcoin. I'm not too worried about there. And then the miners, I was dollar cost averaging into them during the bear market. So I was still green for the most part up to, well, I'm still green with Cleanspark. I'm in the red now with IREN and Bitfarms. Mara I bought last week. I'm in the green actually on them. So that's kind of the way I look at it. Mark Tim says Trump wants the Fed to cut. To do that, he may be using the tariff fear to scare the markets down and reduce consumer spending. Firing thousands of Fed workers also affects job data and the Fed monitors. That is true. That might be another reason why. Let's see. Yari, yeah, you're very welcome. And thanks for coming in from Germany. I have some family in Germany. My two cousins live there with their families, along with my aunt and uncle live in Germany. And let's see. One of these days, I got to get down to Germany and visit them. I've never been into Germany. Okay, Dan says I can feel my hair sizzling off on the red days. Stress will do that to you. Question: what sub is your absolute trigger that okay, got to sell all the miners? For me, I think it would be Bitcoin getting below 65,000. If Bitcoin now goes down to like 65, 60,000, that might be the trigger where I go, okay, we're getting into a bear market here. We're going to be, in a world of hurt, basically. So that would be maybe my signal there for it. I'd like to, at that point, at least get the money that I put into it. Maybe be down 10% at the very least. Call it a day. Take a loss on it, and whip it up to basically a learning curve, learning experience at that point. Let's see here. A says Hut 8 was 50 and Mara was 7. Yeah, if you bought at those prices, yeah, I can see how you're still down on those things. The only thing that would have saved you was buying them at the very, very bear market of 2022 and buying a lot. That probably would have lowered your cost average at that point. All right, but it looks like we're cut up to all the questions here, so that's awesome. We're going on 50 minutes. We'll call it a day. I'm tired. All right, here, let's see. Kaz has a question here. Still holding onto Bitfarms, all 190,000 shares. Am I mad? Depending on your average prices and things like that. If they can continue to execute on their growth, maybe get an HPCI deal there. Bitcoin goes up. I think the big thing is Bitcoin going back up. That should be good. see. Mortem says, Tom Lee has called for 62,000 in March and at least 150. Yeah, I saw that as well. That's why I'm saying 65, 60,000, somewhere around there. I think at 60,000, I definitely would start to panic and sell. Are you buying more? I bought it on Friday. So I'm going to hold on to what I have here. I'm pretty much spent out of cash right now as it is. I bought twice last week. I've used up all the available cash that I had to me. Okay? All right. Let's call it a day. We'll see who else reports tomorrow. We'll see if the tariffs are going to be somehow amended or at least reduced from what they are right now on Canada and Mexico based on the negotiations. We'll see how Bitcoin does, miners, everything else. Whatever happens tomorrow, we'll talk about it as always. All right. Really appreciate you guys coming in as always. Thank you so much. Love you all. Have a wonderful night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.